You sent them out on the email? Okay. Well, let's have a look-see here. Is it the August 30 minutes that we need to approve? September 1. September. Okay, let's take a few minutes and take a look at the September 1 minutes. Vice Chair. Yes.
On page 1, my announcement about about the Bear Tracks Bridge. Could I just include a sentence in there to contact me about further details or participation?
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you get that, Abby?
Yep, I got it.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
on page 5, just take my comment out of there about asking about those lagoons up in Kalispell.
Okay. Page 5, remove Bing's comments. So just a quick question in regards to Jim, the issue that you brought up about these septic systems. Do we know if those were ever followed up on? Did anybody take a look? Do we still need to, do we still need to address that? So do we have people that are,
Yeah, Philip Hall's been without septic since July. And I don't know the issue. I haven't heard why or what's going on or anything. And it's a long time. I mean, if you wait too long, it's gonna get.
so they're currently unable to use their home system then?
I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm able to use it, I guess. I just ran into him in Missoula. Was telling him.
Okay. I will ask staff to give him a call today and see if he needs assistance out there, because that's too long if they're gone without using their home system. Any other questions, comments? Motion by Mike to approve the September 1 minutes, second by Martin. Any other questions, comments? All in favor? Opposed, same. Motion carried. Okay, let's have a look at the agenda. Any additions to the agenda? Martin? Mike? Jennifer? Jimmy? Ellie? Bing?
Go ahead and throw me on there.
All right, one for Martin.
Open, please. It's here for filling time, I guess.
And one Martin and one for Carol.
Motion to approve with additions.
Motion by Ellie to approve the agenda with additions. Second by Mike. All in favor? Opposed, same. Motion carried. Okay. Well, let's take care of the council items here before we start in our agenda. We'll start with Carol.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chair. I appreciate all the support that I got, and I am happy to be back sitting in this chair because it doesn't feel very good laying in bed. So anyway, I got a call this morning from Jane Austen, and her son has been, I don't know how you say it, accepted to go to the INFR. And he's a bronc rider, and he's 21 years old. He's raising money. They're out raising money, and she just asked me ways that I thought he could. And I don't know, is he eligible for? He's a tribal member. Okay, so he'll put in for the donation committee, and I just encouraged her a couple of different ways, since we have a rodeo to, go face to face and meet with maybe SK Gaming or Technologies and have a packet with them full of the information, so they'll know what's up. So I just wanted to give council a heads up that maybe, if he doesn't happen to raise all the money, he needs 4,000, 1,500 to start out with. And so, and he goes the middle of next month. So she's got a lot of work to do, and she's gonna be doing fundraisers. And so I just wanted to let council know that. And great, Jane Austen. And it's a great opportunity. I forgot to ask her son's name. So yeah, I should have done that. I'll try to find that out. But just wanted to give council a heads up.
Very good. Thank you, Carol. Glad to have you back. And once again, we just want to acknowledge to you that we appreciate the work that you do, especially for the families. Carol, we know you reach out there to the families on a lot of their situations, and they appreciate it. I hear back from the membership about you as a representative helping them out, and so it's really good to hear. So thank you for the work that you do.
And just maybe keep Amelia Stanger in your prayers. She's on her, I guess you could say, final journey, but that's a decision she made. And I went to a dinner last night, and there was a lot of people, and it was her surprise birthday party, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's really tough to watch because she's kind of, she's a singer and she prays and she does all of that, and it's difficult, but
Okay.
she's in our prayers.
All right. Thank you for letting us know about that. Okay, Martin.
Well, Carol wanted me to keep it positive, so I'll do my best. Let's see, we'll start off with there's West Nile in Montana. There's also monkeypox in Lake County, which if you read between the lines and look at the two reporting entities, it was Lake County and Tribal Health. So you figure it's a tribal case as well, or at least ties to our community. So be cautious out there. Here's the positive part. COVID is, we're doing all right. We're still in low transmission rates. We have 27 cases in Lake County, newly reported, 31 active every time. We are going into a season where there's football games and fall sports for kids, and they're all starting schools. So there are tests available through Tribal Health. Talk to your doctors about vaccines. Make your best choices for your family and the people around you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that, Martin. I know we mentioned it before. I think we should probably have Tammy Matt from Tribal Health coming in here periodically and giving us updates, especially when we have stuff like monkeypox coming into on the reservation. So it'd be good to get the membership more educated on these issues and keep them apprised. So Jennifer, maybe if you can contact Joe Derglo and ask him to have Tammy Matt come and give us an update on not only COVID, but the newest one, the monkeypox and things like that. So. Yes, Carol.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, also Ron Swaney reached out to me on Friday and I got him the letter that we sent, I took to Secretary Holland. And he was gonna get that letter distributed to all the different entities, FMOs throughout the region. So we can see if we can get something done there. I mean, it's just, it seems like it's slowed down, but we're kind of keeping trying to keep Ryan on the pogo stick to keep it moving. And so now we're just trying to get other entities, and I just want to give council an update on that. So hopefully if you're out and about or going to 18I or NCI or whatever, you know, watch out for the issue and try to get support for it. But this doesn't seem like the fire season's slowing down much, but just wanted to give you an update that's what I help Ron, and he'll probably give you an update on when he comes up.
Okay, is that an issue we need to focus on the upcoming ATA&I conference that's coming up?
Believe so. Bing's probably on top of it with the AT&I or no, ITC.
Okay. All right, very good. Anything else from council? Okay, let's move on with the agenda. Ron, is Ron? Okay. Morning, Ron. Come on up.
That's good.
Next quick.
We had a good weekend. We had a busy weekend. Over the weekend, we had some lightning come in. I can't remember. I think it was Friday night, maybe somewhere in there. And we had 5 lightning fires and 1 person caused fire. So in the last several days, that's what's kept us moving. 3 up the South Fork above South Slough. It's in Goat Rock. It's inaccessible. So we're pounding it with helicopters. They're pretty small. If I showed you a picture, you'd think the rock was on fire. I mean, I don't know if a goat got struck or what, but there's very little fuel on that hill, but it's still holding heat. And yesterday we had a person caused fire up Valley Creek. Looked like someone had harvested a turkey and maybe a rabbit and cooked it alongside the road and forgot to put their fire out. So it was about 7/10 of an acre in size. It's lined. So everything we got right now on the reservation's in good shape. We hit it hard. Some Oklahoma guys got up there and talked us flatheads into it. It was funny. But we got it. Everything's in good shape. And yeah, it's been a good fire season so far. Like I said, 1 injury to a smoke jumper. He broke his elbow and needed surgery. Did have a twisted knee, and then 12 cases of COVID. And outside of that, everyone's in good shape, ready to go. Today is equipment demob. We've got a significant amount of equipment on, so we went through a process and evaluated, and we'll be reducing our numbers down. So you might be hearing some things on that. If you do, just come to me and I'll try to help explain. So yesterday, the state of Montana Plains unit lost Doug Browning. He's their FMO to a heart attack. He's about 50 years old. I don't know if you remember. Played with Plains. You probably know him, Mike. Just a shock to us. And we took a moment of silence for him this morning. We do share protection boundaries. It's Highway 28 from Dog Lake into Plains, and Highway 200 from, about CPay into Paradise there. So just to let you know, we're going to try to help stand them up. If they need support, we've got some resources, and we'd kick that way until they get settled in. Jesse Best, our Lee resident, but working out of Kalispell, is going to come down and stand them up. And we've been talking with Scott Schrank. He's the Lolo National Forest Plains FMO. And both of us will work together to try to stand that program up. So we'll see how that works out. And then we did send an engine up to the state, one of ours, and helped out for a couple of days. So we're helping folks that are on the peripheral, and our aviation assets have really been knocking everything down in the Kootenai. We've been running air attack and seed aircraft up there and trying to help those folks out. We give them a heavy helicopter. And then the Plains District or Missoula District, Lolo National Forest had a fire just south of the reservation. It's called Boulder Fire. And Kenny Mobunzi flew that for a bit, and we ran buckets on that with 3 helicopters, and just helping out around because we don't have any activity here, but we're keeping things busy, helping out our neighbors because they've helped out us. So the bear, you know, our own local team put together a bear proposal for the Garsto Sullivan fires. And so just to let you know, we are working forward, trying to get one of those submitted to the national office for those fires. Sean DeFrance is taking the lead, but there's a lot of other folks that are participating and playing.
Ron, what is the status of the Alamo Bear project?
It's submitted. I have not heard that it's been approved, but it is submitted.
Okay, and that gets approved in Portland?
It goes through Portland, but it goes up to the national office to Daryl Martinez, and ultimately they go in front of, you know, all the fires and all the different agencies, and then it goes through a process to see which ones get approved.
Do
So
we anticipate that starting up this year or probably? or
it's
next
got
spring?
it. The ES portion has to start. We've got a year and for some reason 21 days from the start of the fire to get that implemented. So it'll happen quickly. Yeah, I'll let you guys know, Lynn, when I hear back exactly the status. But yeah, the ES portion is got a tight time frame, so we'll definitely be on top of that. Fire danger, we're very high on the reservation. We're record ERCs, which may not seem right because there's an extreme, but usually this time of year we're down, you know, it's tailing down pretty sharp. We usually have a rain storm or something that's changed, but we're setting record highs right now. Seems to be daily, and tomorrow is a really dicey day. We got a red flag warning. It's going to be windy and hot and dry. So tomorrow's got our attention, and looking extended, there's no relief in sight. The next 10 days, we're just going to be about the way we are now. It's just very hot and very dry. So I don't see us slowing down much at this point. I don't think we'll get lightning, but we're really dependent on the public to not cook a turkey alongside the road and
Yep.
things of that nature. Yeah, well, so I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. We do have a lot of severity resources in, and they're starting to time out. We got a kid in yesterday from Navajo. So we're still bringing people in overhead, trying to help facilitate, you know, leadership, mid-level leadership, IC3 leadership, if we do get more fires. And then obviously for the equipment, we're holding on for initial attack. We are going to hold IA resources. We're going to hold 2 cats, 2 skidgeons, 2 tenders at Lone Pine, Arlee, and here in Ronan. And so we'll have some contract resources on. And currently we're going to keep all the engines on, and they're just tailing our agency engines in case we do need a fire. So yesterday, the fire that we hit up in Saddle Mountain, we had a contract tender, we had 2 contract engines, we had our engine, we had our fuels crew, we had 2 helicopters, we had all of Daryl, me, Art, all of us old dogs going up there trying to dig line. And we hit them hard, and we'll continue to hit them hard. So if we get a start, we're rolling, and as hard as we can. So the letter, yeah, I appreciate you, Carol. I didn't know everything was going on, but I got a hold of Carol trying to get a letter for, it's that infrastructure bill, and the council submitted a letter, and I appreciate that. So I reached out to the FMOs that are tribal within the Northwest Regional area under the BIA, and I got a response back from Colville, Warm Springs, and Nez Perce. And they're interested in us putting together a letter and getting it signed by our leadership, talking about the infrastructure bill and the fact that they've left tribal firefighters out of the retention bonus and the new increased wages. And so we're going to use the wording basically of that the tribal council had submitted earlier. I added some language on the retention bonus because that's a critical piece. It's $20,000 to each firefighter. And, you know, I've talked to these BIA and Fish and Wildlife Service and BLM and Forest Service, and they've all gotten it. $20,000, it comes to them as a retention bonus. They get a lump sum at the start that accounted for their earlier pay periods. It was around 12 grand. Now they get 600 every pay period. It's not included into their wages. It's just labeled as a retention bonus. And that funding is going to be allocated those firefighters until it runs out. So I think we got just a short window of opportunity to try to get our tribal firefighters included. And I think united with a bigger voice, more tribes signing on to one letter and sending that forward, I think is going to have a little more strength.
Where's this letter going?
Deb Solon is going to get it, and there's a couple others. There's the Office of Wildland Fire director is going to get it, and there's one other individual I've got a guy that's kind of giving me some information on how to make noise at that level. And he said the letter that the tribe sent made some conversations. He said we've got their attention, and I'm just trying to keep them noticing us.
Do we need to include the congressional delegation?
They recommended that. Go ahead.
Yes.
They are included because when I hand delivered the letter to Deb, she did turn to me and she said, you know, Senator Tester got this similar letter and he forwarded it to me.
Yeah.
So I know she knows about it, but I just think rattling those cages will continue to do it, even if you have to go back there or show up where she's at. But Jennifer, you got a card and so do I. We could call her press secretary or whatever she is and maybe try to have a conversation with her, with you and others to keep the ball rolling and ask status. We could do that after council today, maybe.
We'll see. Yeah, it all depends, but yeah, the more the merrier. I've been talking with Jim Durgalo. He's ITC Fire Subcommittee representative, and Jim's been giving me some ideas. In fact, I planned on sending him the letter to see if he wants to change it in any way or add anything, because he's got a good knack for that high level political writing skill. He does a good job of that. So
Do we know how much funding is needed to address that issue?
it'd be about $12 million to address all tribal firefighters. That's if there's 600 and they all got 20 grand. For us locally, it'd be about 1.7 million that would come into our economy. It's quite a chunk of change.
Yes, it is.
And you know, when I started doing the math, I mean, it's definitely worth a few letters on my side for sure. So
Yes, Carol.
I think the other thing is that we've talked for years about how we're losing all these people.
right.
This little kick
Right.
will encourage more people to get back in, the young ones that are coming out of high school, getting in and
Right.
staying in fire. I think it's a great opportunity for
We
us to
talked
try.
about that, yeah, because we lost 24 people last year. You know, if they'd have known they were gonna get 20 grand if they read through this year, who knows? But yeah, definitely a retention bonus would help.
All right, Bing, you have a comment?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Ron, maybe Jim ought to see if you get a hold of Vernon Stearns too and see what they're doing to ITC. Because I think Vernon will probably be on top of this stuff, you know, from being from Idaho down there. So I think he'd be right on top of this to get this. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, I did hit up Vernon, but it was during Spokane Power, whelping that's going down. So I bet Vernon was there, but hopefully I hear back from him today. He's probably back at work. Yeah. No. Oh, no, it's Durglo knows the name. It's that's part of their offense. Is they just keep changing people in that position. And so you're always dealing with somebody different. Be on about the office wildland fire. Yeah, it's not him anymore. I think it's Rupert. I want to say that for some reason that name just popped into my head. Yeah.
Okay, so just to clarify, our strategy is we have a letter that's getting out there. And now we probably need to contact the Secretary of Interior's office and let them know also and continue to contact them. I think we need to do that on a weekly basis.
I'm trying to get it before the end of this fiscal year, knowing that they operate on a fiscal year and probably wouldn't allocate 2022 funding after October 1st. So that's why I'm really pushing right now. It's just hoping we can make a difference. Yeah, I don't have a lot of time, but so is it okay if we go with the letter? 4 different tribes. It'll be Warm Springs, Colville, Nez Perce, and our Confederated Salish Kootenai tribes.
Oh, definitely.
Joint letter. Okay.
Yep.
We'll try to get that going.
Yes, Bing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ron, when we got down at the symposium, a lot of this funding was brought up.
Mm-hmm.
How much, there was a lot of money that
Yeah.
was brought up in there and talked to Tony and them about it and to see if they were gonna go ahead and put in for some of that stuff,
Oh, thank you.
I don't know whether how far he got on it, but he said he was gonna take a look at it and see what he could do, but other than that, there was a lot of money out there to be had, and I hope that he did get was able to put in for some of that, because that's all they would report on is money that was coming in, they was able to get, down there. I mean, representative from all over, from the ITC and then also else from the Bureau and other forestry outfits, that had this, was reported on, and that I couldn't believe the amount of money that they were talking about, that was available.
So we had Jonah Blackhair come to our office last fire season. We had a meeting and she encouraged us to provide some proposals related to the bill fund. And we did one for expansion of our greenhouse and one for a training facility here at Division of Fire to help train up and become a training hub associated with SKC to help provide an area of development for other tribal programs that are in fire. We keep reminding folks that we did submit that. They did say they received it. Still haven't heard whether they've been approved or not. So it's always this challenge. They name tribes, they talk about the opportunities, but when you try to seek them out, it seems to be a difficult process. So we are trying, obviously, our fuels program did get some bill funding to do fuels work tied to this. So it's associated with the bill. And then there's other things, a lot of things associated with the bill that affect Division of Fire and affect fire programs. So we're really working hard. This is 2 of them that are huge. I mean, if they develop a new pay scale and our tribal programs aren't included, just a little secret, we're a 638 program that has not seen a cost of living increase since we became a public law 638 program. So we're operating in 2022 on a 1998 budget. And it's a challenge. And we've explained that to them. We never get a cost of living increase, even though the federal programs have for 20 years. And this is just another example where, our guys will stand boot to boot with all these folks and fight fire. In fact, we're doing it here. But we get treated differently because we're a 638 program, and it's not right.
Yeah, exactly right. Hey, also, Ron, on a side note, I had a a tribal member, called me here some time ago and was informing me about one of the resources that we get funded for, but we no longer use. And those are the lookouts.
Yeah,
I know in today's technology, we can, we can locate fires more readily, more accessible, but we have those lookouts there that have been there for years and years and years. And they were asking why we don't man those anymore. And I noticed that
so it's,
periodically we'll send staff people up there to maintain the lookouts, but
yeah.
we never keep anybody up there. So
Yeah, so part of that 1998 piece where we haven't, I mean, I had to start cutting and consolidating positions, and lookouts for the first to go, because I'd rather have firefighters than people that can see them. I'd rather have people that can fight them. It's been a challenge. As your budget starts to dwindle, you start prioritizing exactly where your priorities are. Do you want to fight the fire? Do you want to have more people in engines, or do you want to have people up in lookouts? Do you want to have, so you're really, and then we combined the dispatching position with our training position, and that's about what we've done, is just started combining and cutting positions, and we're about as combined and cut as we can get. I appreciate your comment. I mean, the lookouts did serve quite a purpose. They are starting to run out a little bit due to the cell phone and all the communication that's going on. And there is some satellite imagery that's kind of helping this piece, but your point's well taken. I mean, I've been hit by that with a lot of folks, Freddie, Bing, Homer, people that have been in the game and understand the game like you do and question me on it. But that's my answer. I don't like it, but that's kind of where it's at.
okay. Thanks, Ron.
All right.
Very good. Any other questions for Ron?
We did have 2 fires by Pine Haven up above you the other day, Lightning. We got them. Yeah. Yeah. Go. All right.
All right, Ron. Well, we appreciate your reports and just continue to keep us updated.
Yes, sir.
So,
All
all right. Thank you. Yes. Anybody have a comment? All right.
Great, you're muted.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Greg, you are next on the list. And you are muted.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now, Greg.
Thank you. Thank you, and good morning, council. Today's issue is for SOD to recommend award of contract for the 2022 Black Lake Dam modifications, seepage collection improvements, material supply to Dick Anderson Construction. A little bit of background. The safety of dams is kind of used a format in the past to get to send out requests for quotations for materials procurement for work then to be conducted by safety of dams personnel. The Black Lake Seepage Project was designed by Bureau Reclamation, and they had provided us technical guidance documents for our resources to construct these modifications. Safety of Dams program then put together a request for qualifications for materials procurement that was intended to be sent out to several tribal and non-tribal contractors to get quotes. And of the several companies that were emailed as well as hard copied this information, we only received 2 quotations, one from Rabine Enterprises, the other from Dick Anderson Construction. And in discussions with Lissa Peel, who may have joined, as well as Trevor Brass, who prepared the RFQ, we did our review of the 2 solicitations received, and Rabine was only providing, they did not provide quotations for all line items, and that was considered non-responsive as outlined in the request for qualification or request for quotations. Dick Anderson, however, did provide unit prices for all line items and was deemed responsive. And my issue begins on page 2 of Tribal Council packet. And so based on our understanding of the procurement procedures manual, because we only received 2 quotations rather than the minimum of 3, we understood that we needed to present a recommendation letter to present to council with a request to approve the RFQ from Dick Anderson Construction to then proceed with preparing a contract, an agreement. And again, myself and Trevor Brass, I believe, are on the line if there are any questions.
Yes, Carol.
If you needed to go, Mr. Chair, you could have. Did you? I thought you were gonna say something. That's quite a bit of difference. The engineering's estimate is 139,000, correct? Am I following that?
Correct.
And then the bid for Anderson is 208. That, have you went through the document that they submitted to see what the big differences are? I mean, is the cost gone up so much for them that that's what it would, is it an appropriate bid? And that's quite a bit of difference to me.
We did go through that analysis, yes. And I can't tell on my end if Trevor Brass has joined via Zoom to provide a little bit more background.
Yeah, I'm here. I can, give you an idea on how we put together engineer's estimate. So initially we had went ahead with getting budgetary quotes from suppliers last year in the hopes that we would do the project last year. I was able to get quotes last year and put together the engineer's estimate. But we ended up tabling the project till this year. This year, I tried to reach out to suppliers once again to get a more updated cost. And I really had trouble, I guess, getting responses back in a timely manner. And just wasn't able to get, a more current cost estimate for this year. And so basically a lot of the engineer estimate is based off of last year's costs. And I guess what I've been hearing is suppliers are just really stretched thin right now. And I don't think contractors are they're kind of stretched thin as well. So from what I've been hearing is contractors are kind of adding more cost to their bids than generally in the past they have. So yeah, I guess in essence, we're not too surprised with how high the bids were compared to the engineer's estimate. I guess is our main thought on that.
Thank you.
And just to answer your question on, I guess differences, I believe the pipe. I think you can scroll down to, there's a bid tabulation. So I guess, we could look at Raybines first. So if you look at the slotted 12-inch C900 pipe, that cost was double the engineer's estimate. So we're having trouble procuring pipe with some of our other projects, or not trouble, but lead times are just, stretched out to, for one of our projects, steel pipe is 9 months procurement. And generally in the past, it's not been that long. I guess another big cost item is the zone 2A filter and the zone 3A drain at the top, BLK1 and BLK2. Generally those costs were relatively similar to the engineer's estimate. They weren't too out of line. But a lot of these other, smaller cost line items were either double, sometimes more. Just to kind of give you an idea in comparison to the engineer's estimate. So does that answer your question?
Trevor, quick
Yes.
question. So the zone 2A filter and the zone 3A, is that gravel material?
So yeah, so they're both, they do have a lot of gravels in them, some sand. Basically there'll be our filter drain, then we'll have the zone 2A, about a foot of that around the filter drain, and that'll be, quite gravelly. And then the zone 3A drain is around the 2A filter, and that's a little more, I guess, not as gravelly. It has more sands, fines in it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, well, yeah, I was just kind of curious, because I'm just sitting here thinking out loud, and I recall at one time having that discussion with council about utilizing tribal gravel material on all of these upcoming projects, whether it's with the safety dams and the irrigation. And so we need to probably have that discussion with the tribal lands department again to see where we're at with that. Because I just really hate to see us using any outside tribal gravel or outside resources for when we have our own gravel material here that we can utilize. So just wanted to mention that. And also the other question I have is it appropriate to contact a bidder, inform them that their bid was non-responsive because they failed to address an item? Or we just do not communicate that to them? I don't know. I was just kind of curious on how that works, because of as I understand it, this other contractor, they're an Indian preference contractor. Is that correct?
Preference 2, yes.
So did anybody reach out to them and let them know that their bid was non-responsive? And give them an opportunity to correct that?
I think it's too late to go back to let them correct that. I would let them know, send them a letter. But I think it's hard to go back and let that be corrected after it's been bid out, to start over.
And if I might interject too, the request for qualifications does include what is considered non-responsive. So I guess, thank you, Vice Chairman Two Teeth for that question. So know that contact has not yet been made, but they were all those who received the solicitation, the documentation includes the statement of what is considered a non-responsive bid.
All right, any other questions or comments? Yes, motion to accept the bid from Dick Anderson Construction.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid modification on the Black Lake modification.
Motion by Carol, second by Martin. Any other comments, questions? All in favor? Opposed, same. One opposed, Mike. Motion carries. Okay, very good.
Thank you, Vice Chairman and members of council.
All right, thank you, Greg. Thank you, Trevor.
Thank you.
All right,
Mr.
next
Chair,
on the list. Yes, Bing.
I didn't vote on that. I was gonna abstain on that issue, so. I didn't vote for it.
Okay, we have one abstention on that last motion. Abby, it was Bing.
Where'd I go?
One abstention, one opposed. Okay, moving right along. Okay, who is next, Jennifer?
Marie Trojan.
Let's see, let's get to that page here. Marie and Michelle from Tribal Education. All right, good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I apologize, my camera thing, oh, there we go. I guess if you open the lens, but it's still not showing. I'm having a glitch this morning. I apologize.
Hey, we all have those.
Before we start, I just, maybe that's why my camera is not working, so it doesn't show me, but September 6th, 2020 is the day that the fire happened at the People Center, and that's today. So it's kind of crazy that we're on council today making a request for our artifacts. So I'd like to just take a moment of silence for everybody just to remember this day and all the things that were lost and all the steps we've been taking to move forward. And just to continue to keep us all in prayer and all of the work that we do. So if we could take a moment of silence.
Okay, thank you, Marie.
Thank you.
For that acknowledgement.
Yeah, you know, the day hit harder than I thought it was going to be this morning. So bear with us.
No, we understand the impacts that it had on the employees there. That was such a detrimental time for you all and for you all to actually witness and experience what you went through. We understand that, and we're very, very grateful that you brought that up this morning and acknowledged it. So thank you, Marie.
Yep. So what brings us here today is we're requesting permission to continue our work with Nancy Fonicello, the conservator that was selected to work on all of our collections to help us to get them conserved. Council approved her originally back in December of 2020 to start the phase 1 of the care of our collections. And you'll see that on page 13 that shows the information there about meeting with council. That was just phase 1. We've gone through many phases since then. It's been contracts that we have run through, contracts and grants, and we've been doing them at 6-month intervals just so that we were able to kind of keep up with Nancy and keep up with the progress of what was taking place. At one point, contracts and grants asked us to, instead of just doing a modification to that existing contract, to move forward with doing a new contract for each time she was going to be taking items home with her to conserve. So that's what we've been doing. And now Contracts and Grants has recommended, instead of continue with that process, that we should do just one contract for 1 year, including the entire collections in that, and then we could modify that if necessary down the road. Nancy has been doing quite a bit of work with the conservation of the artifacts, not only with her work individually, but also she's still the lead conservator that monitors the progress of the other conservators. We have been completed with 2 of those contracts. One was to repair the wood products and the bench for the museum, and the other one is Jack Lyons, who you guys saw all the beautiful paintings come back. Those are now in storage. We moved everything that has come home and been cared for to Helena last Thursday, and those are in storage in their warehouse in a safe, secure setting until our curation rooms get completed here, and then we'll move those home. And Nancy did submit a new report, and I would like for her, if she, yeah, she's on, I'd like her just to give that report. I think that's some important information for everybody to know. And it's not included in your packet. I'm sorry, I just got that this morning.
Okay, very good. We'll turn it over to Nancy then. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning. Sorry, how are you all? It's good to see everyone. Sorry, my voice isn't working. It's Monday morning. This weekend, I put together a report for Marie, so she had it. This is our current status as far as the objects conservation goes. She already gave you a report on the other conservators. Can everybody hear me well enough? I've got a really bad connection here. Okay, great.
Yes.
So originally we had 99 objects that that survived the fire and that we thought we could possibly save. And at this point in time, which is 18 months into the conservation project, which we actually really didn't start until February of 2021 after we evaluated the collection. We have a total of 54 objects have been completed and stored in proper boxes, documented, and that's considerable considering the time frame of 18 months. Of those 43 objects I completed here in my studio, which were pretty complicated treatments, and each treatment I do also comes with a full report. There's like sometimes a 10-page report that has all the documentation for everything that was done to the objects, which is part of the conservator's responsibility. And 11 of those were treated by the staff and interns at the center, and they did a fabulous job working on some of these things. What remains to be treated are 30 more objects, and that is what I would be doing because they're complicated treatments, and we identified 11 more that can be treated in-house if Marie and Jerry would like to work on those things. And then now that we have a little bit more experience working with some of these fire damage things, there's really no protocols for such a huge project, so we had to figure it out as we go. I've identified 4 objects of that original 99 that probably can't be treated. We can clean them up a little bit and we can preserve them as educational objects because you can still see the maker's, technique, but there's nothing I can do to save them because they were damaged by heat. And that is pretty much the object count so far. With the 30 objects remaining, I propose 3 separate contracts. I don't like to have more than maybe 10 objects in my studio at any one time for insurance purposes and also space. They're safer with you. And that's why we're doing contract by contract. So I propose 3 more contracts. One of them I already submitted to Marie, and then I submitted a summary with an estimate for what remains to be done. Marie, was there anything else I'm missing on this that I need to say? I think I sent a summary of what's going on. The only thing I had to say also is when we first started the treatments in February of last year, we chose the most difficult things to fix, mostly because I really didn't know how we were going to fix some of this stuff. And most of them were hugely successful. But so most of the most difficult treatments are done so far, which is good because it leaves us with some of the more simple objects. Not that anything is simple, but each one has its own problems. But we've made some serious progress on some really significant objects. So that's what I had to say as far as the report that I sent to Marie this morning. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Nancy, thank you. We really appreciate the work that you've done for us thus far. Your recovery and restoration efforts just turned out phenomenal. And they're looking at some of the items that you've already performed work on. I was just very impressed. So we're very fortunate that we were able to obtain your services when we did, and really appreciate the work that you've done. And I guess the question I have for Marie, going through the inventory of items, do we know how many items that were just a complete loss, that were just completely destroyed and we could not recover them or restore them? Or pretty much recover everything?
Yeah, according to the records, Jerry and an intern had done about 2 years prior to the fire. It didn't include some of the newer items that had come in between that time, but we're estimating about 126 to 150 items that did not survive the fire. And that's not anything to do with the 99 items that did survive. Those are what's being worked on now, and those are just artifacts. That's not including the paintings and those items. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So I did submit a contract, and that's when this all came back from Contracts and Grants with their questions. And I was just kind of following suit with how the other contracts are done with the sole source and non-competitor, no bids. So this contract that I did submit, I want to modify it per their request for a 1-year contract and include the total amount. So the total amount of this contract would be just over $40,000, and that would cover, it's like $40,055 would cover the remaining 30 items that need to be conserved through Nancy.
Okay, and that is something that can be covered under the education budget,
It's actually covered under the Bishop insurance.
fire insurance, okay.
Yeah, and they also have met with Nancy and us many times, and they actually have recommended and supported all of her work through all of this.
Yeah. No, I understand the importance of keeping this a sole source and keep working with Nancy on this, so I highly support this project. Any other questions or comments from council? Yes, Martin.
Vice Chair, Michelle, Marie, Yeah, everyone down there, I appreciate you bringing that up, that I didn't realize that was today. Feels like it wasn't that long ago, so thank you all for your hard work. And make sure that you guys are taking care of yourselves. Still a huge loss to everyone, and so I'm sure it's affecting us all in different ways, but I'd make the motion to approve the sole source contract or the modification to the contract for, I forget the name of the organization that she,
Ancient Artways.
that's the one. Thank you.
We have a motion on the floor. Second by Ellie. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Yes, Mike.
Can we get the modified contract?
Yes, I will get that to you guys all today if you need. I'll change that up.
So the modifications are that number of items will be, you say 30 items?
30,
And the cost will be $40,045?
40,055.
Fine. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Maria, if you could just email that to Jennifer and she could disperse that to the council.
Okay,
Can I include that in the motion?
And we'll also include that into the motion.
okay, thank you.
All in favor? Opposed, same? Motion carried. All right, thank you, ladies.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, let's take a break.
Gotta give me time to get enrollment set up on.
All right.